Just this big one, wow.
Somebody open the door for us.
Where is it?
We gotta go through the living room into the kitchen. All right, Carly's there. She's on her way. Yeah. Oh, yeah, both had it. Okay. And then now we gotta go to the door on the right. I'll go. Gotta move. Oh, yep. There we go. Move left. Just fucking do it, yo.
So we killed it.
Jesus.
Hey, yo, Jesse going camping? Damn, that's crazy. No invite as well.
Just stays camping. She don't even live at home.
Yeah, she do stay camping though.
She lives at camping.
Is this Party Animals Crossing? Nah, this is moving out too, bro. It's like what was that other game we were just saying? Cooking one?
Overcooked.
Overcooked. It's like Overcooked. Where do we gotta go now? Oh, over there.
My nipples are hard as diamonds right now.
Yeah. What's up, Ray?
Jax is a monster. And she's
Jax, keep it down, please.
Wrecking it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you guys that achievement.
Can you break the sandcastle on the ground?
Yeah.
I mean, on the beach?
Yeah.
On the ground.
Oh, there's something over there too. So we gotta cross the bridge. There you go. Henrietta.
Oh, she's cute. A little cock. That's cute.
Little cock. What is this?
Arcade cartridge. Nice.
Nice.
Oh, another arcade game.
Blow on it.
It goes well. It goes well, Jax. We're actually out here, you know, getting all the good times and stuff. Carly's literally steamrolling all over us though. We'll be struggling through a door, and then Carly comes with their piece of furniture and just fucking fuck out my way.
My door now.
This place sold for a fortune. Pack more house prices.
Oh, this is the place you have to break every window.
All right, you heard that, Candy?
Heard.
Heard.
So I'm just gonna run around smacking shit for a little bit.
I think this is it. Could be wrong. No, this is
I don't
it.
see a window in that first room. That second room maybe on top of the sink. The third room has, yeah, window, 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 window.
Oh yeah, there's one for putting the flamingo in that bottom right corner in that shower and turning on the shower.
Alright, window breakers, let's go. Oh!
Before moving the cuckoo clock.
Oh, naked!
Okay.
do you get up there? Oh, you have to go all the way around.
Nah, right here.
You can jump
On
on
the
here.
side. On the side. Yeah, I'm gonna go do this achievement real quick, boys. Watch when I put the flamingo in the shower down here, yo.
No, yeah, we did it for ourselves too. Like we got naked down there too.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh, there's a trophy thing here. What is this trophy? We'll just put it
Okay,
in.
I'll just leave him in.
I'm just throwing shit down there.
Yeah, yeah, throw. I'll put it in the truck.
Oh, character crate.
Oh, that was sick.
Yeah, that fart sound mad dry. You sure you okay? Whoever let that one out?
Oh, you trapped. Damn it.
Oh, we got two big pieces of furniture in this room.
We can throw that out the window, right?
And then this one. Nice. Alright, let's put this in the truck real quick. Up against the wall. Oh, that's perfect right there. But yeah, bring yours in. Bring it in. Yeah. Perfect. And there's a couple of stuff over here in this room. Can we throw it?
We can.
Oh, you want to just hold
Oh,
it?
we have to put it around the end
We can
here.
go out the door.
On the end.
Yeah, that's
On the
fine.
end. Yeah.
The stuff's gonna get hard to start fitting. I might have to throw it up there.
Alright, try it.
There
Nice.
we go.
I don't think that table is it, Carly.
That's the clock. Just the clock.
Oh.
The tables are just in the way.
Oh, the door.
Mm. Unbreakable and whatever that other thing is. Trophy.
Oh, this bitch is heavy.
Let us out.
Alright.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Alright.
Okay.
I got one side. Alright. Oh, you didn't get the time?
Nah. I think that's what that means when that pops up.
I should push it. Right here in La Esquina.
Oh, what the fuck?
fart
Take
to the
our
power
item.
of 3. What is that? Reach fart
Reach
level
part
3.
level 3.
10's the max level.
No, Ray. Can it? Oh, we were just 22 seconds. Oh, we got the break all the window. Y'all want to try to shave off 22 seconds?
Yeah, because we don't have to worry about the windows and shit.
Shave it.
Shave it.
Shave it.
Oh, he's cute.
Fuck you, Notorious. Like, I don't know what that says. Deja de tus pendejadas, bro. Rick, can you say hi to la familia? Le des mamadas, bro. That was a good try, though. That was a good try, Notorious. All right, let's go, team. Huh.
Hey.
Somebody just farted already. What the hell? Wait, no, Candy, just throw it out the window.
Out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it
wait,
didn't work.
hold
I
on,
fell
hold on.
off.
Back this up. throw this one out first. Grab that side.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got it. Okay. Lista. 1, 2.
Nice.
And now. Oh wait, this has something on top of it too, so we might get a 2-for-1 right here. Oh, fuck. Okay. Got everything in this room? Look at us, yo. Hold on. We gotta put that. Yeah. All the way up against.
Keep grabbing the wrong handle.
Somebody just let another dry ass fart, yo.
Yo, stop judging my toots.
You
You wanna throw it on top?
Or on the struggle bus.
No, grab your side again.
It won't.
And bring your side up, like, yeah, right there. All right.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
It fell.
Ow. It hates us.
What is this? Is the character crate again? Oh, you want to throw that?
Yeah, you don't have to grab it though. We already got it. It just takes up room on the truck.
Let's try to throw this on top. Go.
Damn, these doors are a pain in the ass. Okay.
Also, the only moving I'ma be doing is moving my mouth on SPZ Wiggle.
What?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing horrible right now.
This is the weed.
It's these pain in the ass doors up here.
Yeah, we got time left. We still got time.
It's unbreakable. Gotta carry this all the way.
Don't worry about the single person box. That's the character thing that we already got. I got a double chair right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I just walked away.
Okay, we good. We good. Oh my god, all the toots, bro.
I'm gonna have to start throwing stuff in for sure. Especially this.
Oh my god.
This thing's so heavy, like there's nowhere to put it.
What the fuck?
What are we missing?
Toilet or something.
What's
Oh,
this?
the crate does count. Yeah. Oh, because it's a character. I thought it was a style crate. You got it.
We got it. With like
Nice.
15 seconds to go. You guys having fun?
I'm having a blast.
Carly's so quiet. I don't know if she's having fun.
Charlie? Do you hate us?
Oh my god, you think she hates us?
She might.
No, I just forgot that I muted like 5 minutes ago.
Ooh, now that's girthy.
Okay, next. Does it give you guys like I don't know, because I know PlayStation like it tracks it for us. But like, does it let you know like how many more things we have to destroy before you get that achievement?
I don't know. Let me look.
What's the name of the achievement, X?
Oh, so this says make 25 shots on any basketball hoops in the game. Oh, we made one.
Oh, but it does track it though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Complete 5 arcade levels. Find all the arcade carts. Style craze.
There yet.
Oh, so this says smash 256 statues.
Something else.
Is this what you want? I'll do anything for smashing just like regular stuff.
Your achievements have names?
Yeah. Paint in the glass, break 95 windows we got. Complete all the levels.
Break 95 windows, skull, gore, and pack more. Smashing good time, it should be called. Smash 404 items while driving the truck. Smashing good time.
Oh, is it hidden maybe?
Oh, it might be a hidden one.
Oh my gosh, I want candy as a hidden one. Complete the candy dimension. I need that.
We got you.
Smashing good time. Yep, it is hidden. So
Is it
it
tracked?
doesn't tell me, it doesn't track the hidden ones for me.
Oh, okay. What is smooth moves? Renew certification. Do we have to do that or we already did that?
No, that's the tutorial.
Oh. So we gotta go up there now. Actually, we did unlock another arcade game, so let's have fun with that.
Uh-oh.
All right, what are teams this time? Is this still boys versus girls or what?
Oh yeah. Carly's my team.
All right, let's go.
You looking slim.
I thought we had it.
Yo, thank you so much, Ray. I lost a significant amount of weight. Oh, I'll let go. You got this.
Jump. Yeah. Not you. You toxic as fuck.
Oh shit! I'm on the fall off.
Don't worry, I'll block their weight. Oh. Damn, she left Carly out there.
Oh, she knocked me off.
Damn, she knocked you off.
Killed
That's
me.
crazy.
She killed me.
There you go. Yeah, slap her for good met. No!
Damn you.
Somebody help me.
I don't think we could. For Carly, I don't think we could move anyways. All right.
All right.
Yeah, we have to. Oh. Carly's like, somebody help me. No. Fuck. Okay, I'm coming. Okay. Oh,
Get
she's
him.
Keep going. Oh, here you go.
Ah,
I don't even know what happened to me. Where am I? Oh, that farm came down.
Hurry! Take away the couch! Wait!
That's my couch.
No! Where am I? I gotta die.
Alright, let's go. Yeah.
Shit. We made it.
Oh shit.
No. Fuck.
We have to do that one at a time,
Is it-
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wait, fuck, wrong person.
Oh shit.
Damn, she just deaded me. Yo, that's crazy.
Oh, that was great. Okay,
There
go
we
sideways.
No. One at a time.
Yeah. Right through there. Turn. Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay. Go back. And then back in. Perfect.
Oh, shit.
Look at that. We made it.
Stay there. Oh, the struggle right now.
You better. I'm being good. Chill.
Oh, I guess I'm not in. What's going on? Oh, yeah. I had to get away from
Okay, go. Oh, you bitch.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Damn! I gotta go. Hey, ow.
Oh, fuck.
Struggle is real.
You keep hitting us, bro. Oh my god.
Stop taking my couch, man.
Kill ya.
Fucking Carly. Damn, they left us, Carly. Carly, they left us! Yo, she jumped over the couch and swung at me.
shit.
Go, 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 go.
Of course
Oh,
they got
crazy.
through.
oh no!
Oh, wait, what?
Uh-oh.
There was more.
Watch out, wait. Yeah, hit.
Oh shit.
Oops.
This is hard.
I feel like the. Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. How the hell we get up there? Oh, no, dude. Oh, okay. That's the girl.
We gotta do it the long way.
Okay, wait. Wait. Go. No.
No, you gotta go.
Oh, I thought we were waiting.
Go. Wait, go. Okay.
There we
Now come
go.
through
All right,
here.
go. All right, we gotta straighten out.
Oh, I fell. What the fuck?
All right.
I got the cat.
The next time it goes back, we did. Go.
Look, you're
Oh.
Gotta straighten out
Wait,
again.
I'm coming.
Oh, hurry. Let go. Okay, gotta get in here.
Go. Okay.
Yo, look at them copying our tactics, bro.
Wait.
We should go over there and just slap one of them.
Go. No!
You saw that sportsmanship right there?
Thank you.
That's great. Damn, that was all cheeks for fucking ecstasy. Damn! We out. Oh!
Get him!
Oh, shit, I had the wrong couch.
No! They about to get fucked up.
Ah!
Go. We out. Hurry up! Oh, shit.
Yeah, you gotta time that. You gotta come out that door right as that red ball
Not
passes.
yet.
Good as good. That's our couch.
Yo, that's crazy! Let them fail first. Let them go and fail first.
Go.
Oh, I don't like it.
Go. Oh shit, yes, go back in.
Go back.
Wait. Go. 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 Nailed it.
Damn, you see how they blocked the door too though? That's wild.
Wait. Go. 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 Ah! Oh, look, we got to the truck first again.
You know what?
Way to go.
Good job.
Yeah, you guys think so? Thank you, man. I know I'm losing weight now because I can actually see my pee-pee now when I pee.
Oh, I got it. Max 104 items.
You got it? Good.
Yeah.
So now we don't gotta do that anymore, and now we gotta...
Now we gotta look for statues.
I think statues are probably like at another level.
Yeah, it's specific to a level.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to play that level more than one time for that. I think the level's like on a different.
Oh, look at all that meat. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the farm
So
crap.
look at all that meat. Oh my god. What is assist mode?
Assist mode help like cheats.
Lighter
you
to
can
play
make-
items, skip level on fail, reduce difficulty. Oh. How do you
Yeah.
you back out? Okay.
You can make items disappear on delivery.
Oh, so that the truck never gets full.
Yeah. Like for moving in, make items snap into place harder so they don't like get out of place.
I know though, baby.
Well, chickens can't fly. Oh damn, these farm animals are gonna be annoying with these fences and gates.
Oh shit.
Milk
They can
me
only
daddy.
launch a short distance.
Milk you daddy, hey yo. Oh,
It's hard keeping them in their pens.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, so we gotta put the animals where they belong.
Okay.
Alright, so
Oh,
this.
the shovels
Where
smack
am
you.
I? I'm
Oh,
lost.
Carly, my ass.
Oh,
That's
hey,
what you
shovel.
get.
Meet the
That's
shovel.
what you get.
I forgot how to grab for a second.
Oh my god, the bee.
Come back.
Get over here, you little cock.
Come back. Come back.
That's the pig. That's the pig you got, Candy. Pig's good on here.
I go. Oh shit! Oh, I went the wrong way.
The pigs are the hardest to keep in. Like, we're gonna have to build a barrier, like holding the doors shut to even keep them in.
Can they push
Wow.
the
Come back,
haystack?
pig.
That's exactly what we'll have to do is like grab some haystacks. Or what Candy has right now, the trough. We'll have to like pin the door
So
shut.
heavy.
Oh, so then somebody help me with this one for the other one.
We could probably just put it in front of
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah,
that.
just like that.
And they won't be able to get out. And one on the other side. Yeah. Right there. Right there we go. They're usually a pain if you don't do that. If you
Yo,
keep
that noise the
doing
pig
it.
makes, bro. That's me when I got my belly rubbed, bro.
Hey.
Oh yeah, that's an achievement.
Oh,
To
the
put-
cows are heavy.
To put one of every animal in the sheep pen, including the turtle.
They have to be there at the same time.
Yeah, there's a cow in there right now, a sheep, a chicken, a turtle. All we need is a pig in there.
Pig is right here.
In
I
the
see him.
chicken pen?
Right here in the sheep fence where
Yeah,
I'm
I
at.
got the pig.
And that sheep, Rick, the sheep jumped out.
Okay, I got the sheep.
That should be it. That should be that achievement. That's every animal.
Did you guys get it?
No, it's a star at the end of the level.
Oh, so now we can take them out.
Yeah. Turtle don't matter. He don't go anywhere. You need help, Candy, with the cow?
Yeah.
Cows are a pain. 'Cause you gotta open these gates. There's two gates you have to get open.
Okay.
And then, like, if you let go, you know, he'll run away. Get out the gate again. He's a pain. Stay in there.
What the fuck?
It's supposed to be cotton candy. Jump over it.
I can't. Let me out! Fuck.
Oh shit.
Where are all the chickens at? They're there.
They're hard to keep in as well. Like, that's probably the
look
last
at
thing
this
you
cow.
wanna... Chickens are usually last for delivery because they're so hard to keep in the pen. They just keep jumping over the fence.
Yo, Lefty was good.
Oh Oh no, no, he got away.
Come back.
I got the fence.
Yo, thank you for the raid, Brody. How you doing, man? What were you playing?
All right.
Oh,
I
college
get close.
football.
You can't get
Yeah,
out here.
my nephew is obsessed with that game right now, bro. I'd be using either Notre Dame or the Buckeyes on that.
Oh, we have one item. Oh, the cow. Cow that Carly's got. I don't know if we can get him over. Yeah, we can.
Nice.
Who'd you play against, Left? Juice, thank you for the 69 biddies, bro. Oh, you played against Deadly. Yo, I appreciate the raid, bro. Yo, are you are you still doing the hard run on Final Fantasy?
Sorry, I got the shower again.
Damn, that's the shit.
I was wondering who that was.
That must be why he got that cum on his face.
Wait, who's coming on whose face?
Oh, they didn't give us that achievement.
Don't worry about it.
That's crazy. Best friends forever. What is that supposed to be?
Put all the animals in the sheep pen.
But we didn't get that.
Yeah, I know.
You lying to us, bro?
Don't break any fences.
That's those little tape. The tape that's hard to do.
Well, we're gonna try it again.
Hectic. Yeah, best friends forever.
You came on
Ever.
Juice's face?
Oh, you gotta have every animal, right? Every one of them.
Oh, every single animal in the
Yeah.
sheep pen?
I thought it was one of each.
Did someone say cock?
In the sheep pen, including the turtle.
I mean, let's do it.
Fuck it. All right.
Get the star.
Okay. Ow.
Oh, you gotta hold him. How do you open this bitch?
Yeah, that's how I'm going. So that opens.
I'm throwing all the pigs and stuff to you guys.
Oh,
I'm gonna stay on gate duty.
That's a good idea. I'm trying to grab some hay, like to bring over there, because that usually helps. Some of them you can just get on top of and jump and throw them in.
There we go.
Go down here. Pig.
Yo, you're killing it with that gate duty. That was a smart ass move.
See, like that, you see that tape right there that cow just ran through, Rick? That's the don't break any fences.
I accidentally broke it with the turtle.
Yeah, but it was already, they already had one broke. That's what I mean, it's hard, because you can't control with the animals. Like, they'll just run through there and break it. The cow broke the first one.
Yo, imagine two people being able to carry a cow, though. Gonna be some brolic ass people, man, because cows be weighing a fuck ton.
Gotta get all of these animals over here.
That chicken just dipped. I got it. I think it's the last animal.
Nah, they all jumping this fence. They're all getting out. That might be the last one.
Where's the turtle?
Yeah, I heard a little.
Oh, the
Turtle's in
turtle.
there.
Okay.
Could
All
be
right, so
it.
now cows. Let's move the cows next door.
I love moving cows. Oh, I thought I had
Do
him.
we have to throw
I
them?
didn't. No,
Yeah.
you can't throw them, huh? Can you?
Yeah.
Me and Carly just jumped over with it earlier.
I'm trying to
Like we
jump
just
over
kept
right
bouncing.
now.
We just kept bouncing up and down, and eventually got him over.
We got it. That's it? Just two cows? Oh, this is throwing.
Great.
There's another one.
Yeah.
Oh, I got Carly.
Okay, pig.
Yeah. I need to build that barrier for the
Yeah,
pig.
girl, come on. We got it.
Turn on the other side.
Oh, fuck. I supposed to grab it from the other side?
The big pig.
Should be good now.
We are struggling like.
I did it like
Oh,
four
yeah.
times already.
Okay, pigs.
Carly was jumping so much that she kept farting, bro.
No, the sheep got out, you bitch.
Oh, we can't get over that.
Don't worry, we got the hard achievement.
I want to grab the safe stack.
I'm about to let them all out.
No, because the sheep are already in there.
Oh, I hit a shovel.
I let
Come
out
here,
a
you
pig.
fucking chicken.
About to let out another pig. And I'm about to let out another pig. I'm about to let out a cock. Oh, nice catch.
Thank you.
No.
Stop.
All the pigs are getting out.
Sorry, I was trying to put that back and then they ran away.
Oh, no, don't worry, you good. Oh, get over here, you little.
Piglet. Oh.
What are we missing?
One thing.
Chicken.
Well,
A chicken in the cow pen.
oh, you motherfucker.
Come in there.
Yo, this chicken is fucking breaking my ankles, bro.
Oh, another one got out.
No!
Oh, no!
Damn it. Damn chicken. Damn cock.
These cocks are running wild.
Oh no. I dropped him. These little motherfuckers. Oh, that one up there again.
I'm just holding
I'm
them.
just holding this one.
I was like, no, I'm not letting go of this fucking cock.
Grasp it tightly.
Firmly grasp it.
Yes, I'm stuck
Oh,
on
my
roof. This
God.
shit is annoying. Damn. Alright, so we got that. Damn. Now to, I guess we'll go for the pro time because that don't break any fences is wild.
So chickens last, sheep first,
Yeah, sheep and
then
cow.
cows,
Yeah.
then pigs, then chickens.
Unless somebody wants to
Oh
come with
my
me to
God,
the pig
he
pen,
on
and we
X
could
Games
like
mode.
barricade it real quick.
All right, let's go over there.
All right. Alright, that one goes right here. And that one. Perfect. Alright, now we can put pigs in if we want. Pig headed your way. Pig headed your way. Yep, got him. Don't come, Carly.
Yeah.
Can I not open that from that side? Oh,
Yeah, hold on. You gotta open it from this side.
yeah.
Actually, this can stay open. Come over here.
Oh, they done broke that damn fence. Real fast.
I got a cow putting a hell of a fight.
Yes,
Well, thank you, Queen. Queen, open the gate. Yeah. Oh, somebody help.
Fuck, I broke the tape.
yeah, that one's ridiculous.
There we
We're
go.
at the pro time.
All right,
Okay, so chickens?
we got the cows in. We got everything in.
One sheep out. It's about to be in. Just the chickens.
Still got a minute 30 seconds left, so we good. Alright, everybody hold a chicken.
Fuck, I lost my chicken.
Dang.
Man,
back.
not you losing your cock. That's crazy.
Oh, I got him back.
Good.
Let's go. Okay, so that one.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
We're not gonna bother with that fence one.
No.
Cute.
I'd rather try to not break glass than the tape because I can barely see the tape.
Right, that swine is wild. Yo, the games are fun, bro. Rax, what's up, man? There's another barn farm thing.
So? Pro time, 5 minutes.
I might secretly know a couple of achievements. Deliver the cows first.
That's an achievement, delivering the cow first.
Well, you know, star is delivering the cows first and
Yeah.
delivering the goat.
And then delivering the goat.
Just
Oh, there's
delivering
one
the
goat.
goats.
Okay.
Yeah, period. But you have to use those goats to break open all these red fences.
Ah, okay. What do? You grab
Okay.
them? You grab them from their ass?
They'll come running at you if you stand in front of them.
Cows first?
Yeah, cows first.
I'm trying to...
We got to get the goats to open the gates to get to
all
some
you
of
gotta do
them.
is slap a goat.
A billy goat.
Yeah, you slap him, and then he starts running at you.
We gotta go to the truck, Carly.
This way. Okay.
I'm trying to break all these red fences for you guys.
Coming out. Staying in there, Cole.
No, Kaden, okay. Oh, no. Can I get him to break this fence?
Yeah. Break this one, too. Well, we can worry about that one next. We gotta get that cow out for sure. Yeah, just grab him by the rear and tote him over there.
How'd you get over there?
Alright, I think I broke all the red fences. Oh no.
We gotta get this one. Yeah.
That's one.
He didn't break it all the way. He only broke a piece off.
There we go.
There it goes. Now we gotta hold that one open while he breaks the next one. Or you could take him on this side. Guess that'd be.
We look crazy.
They trying to jump the fence back there. Come through here.
Oh,
It's open.
okay. Alright.
Alright. This cow 2 cows up here, right?
Broke that
Oh
fence
my god,
down.
stop grabbing the thing.
One more cow.
Right here, down here with me. Billy Goat's goading the like goring the shit out of me though.
Damn, that goat. Just
Somebody
not.
pull him in, pull him in. There we go. All right, we good. All right, so we got that achievement. Let's put the Billy Goats in with them now because all the things are broken. So
Alright, we're good.
now we're good.
Now we just gotta deliver everything.
All right, so sheep go. How do you know where they go? Oh,
They all go in that one
they all
pen.
go in that one pen. Oh,
Shit, they give me a hell of a time.
oh shit! They could open the fucking fence by goring it.
Can they? Damn, there's so many chickens, bro. This is gonna suck.
A lot of cocks.
So much cock.
Oh. Yeah.
Did someone say cock?
There's so much cock, bro.
He's pulling his cock out!
Oh my god.
How many cocks are there so I can fit them in my mouth?
Flash,
Wow.
what is? Flash, why are you unsupervised, bro?
Oh shit.
I'm holding the door closed because they just opened the door and let 2 things out.
Looks like 6 to 9 cocks for your mouth.
We have 2 more things to go in. 1 more. What? 3 just jumped out? What the fuck?
Wow. There it is.
Oh no way.
Sorry, I got
What?
there's an accident.
Every time the last one's about to go in, they jump out.
Two, 23. There we go. We got the pro time, right?
I think the only thing we didn't get is
think
don't let a
so.
goat hit you.
Oh shit, that was one of them?
Yeah, I didn't mention that. Kept that one to myself.
That's crazy.
Fucking keeping secrets. Yeah.
You want to try it or no?
I mean,
It doesn't matter. Okay.
I feel like
I feel
it's
like
easy.
the only way is to grab them immediately and put them in there.
Yeah, but we're gonna need them to break some of the fences.
Yeah, that's the trick.
Oh, I mean,
They
we
have
can
to
try.
break.
Yeah.
But once they break the fences,
Congratulations!
Oh,
Your
what's
first day
this?
at Smooth Moves has not resulted in your death or permanent incapacitation. Well done! Please remember that you signed a
Yeah.
waiver and follow
Oh, that
all
was the last
instructions
level.
without question.
Oh, now we're moving
think
on
they-
to like another thing.
yeah, I think they push you through automatically on completion right there. You can go back, but this is, part of the story or whatever.
Why sleep? That sounds like me.
Up, unload
Unload
the
the
surprise,
surprise from the truck. All right.
Game arcades. Whatever.
Oh. Oh shit, there's more.
Yo, my bad,
Wait.
Candy. I sent you ass.
Wait, there's more.
Damn. I deserve that though.
Yeah, you did.
We gotta plug it in. Yeah, there we go. 1.21 gigawatts.
Oh my god, this suck.
Sucked it up into its vagina.
Ain't that the same amount of electricity that Doc Brown used for time travel? Back to the Future?
Like the garage seat.
1.2 gigawatts.
Just
You still in our inner dimensional gateway? What the?
future boxes. Whoops.
Our bad.
Candy's character look like they
What?
have like no thought in their mind. Your character
I mean-
actually looks like you're high as fuck. Look at Candy. Not a single
I
thought.
look happy. Bliss. That's the face of bliss.
I mean, that's facts.
Oh.
Oh, I think the top one is the Candy one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 12 of our best tech support gnomes out there.
Good luck.
Okay, so those are the two gnomes that we just spoke to. You guys want to go where Candy first?
Yeah.
Snack more.
Mm-hmm.
We're out of snacks day.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Is
For
there,
backland.
is there anything to do here, like destruction wise? Like you know how you said there was the statues?
Nah,
Okay, good.
I don't know.
I don't think so. The statue one's on the like the futuristic level. It's a particular level called Indiana Drive.
Damn, not the sugar-free boss. That's crazy.
I might be packing a bowl right now.
Ew.
Damn.
Cheers.
I got me some purple kush right here.
Cheers. We gotta start shooting some basketballs too.
Oh yeah.
They got some basketball levels on Candyland.
I mean, we could go back to that first level. I think the first house had a basketball hoop, and we could just stay there and just shoot 25 shots.
Okay.
Right? Oh wait.
If
All right. Yeah.
Oh,
if you need to, you can. But there's a few different ones where you get probably a lot more easier shots.
Yeah.
I did my trophy on that one, but
Which one in the
I kinda-
first house?
yeah, but that's not where I got all my shots. Like after I beat the game, I went back to that spot and only had to shoot 10 baskets because I'd already had 15.
For it, level 6 for it.
Yeah, I don't see anything about candy breaking.
Damn, 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They want us to go, bruh. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Alright,
We could just
Oh,
eat the
yeah.
whole level.
there's it together.
You gotta use that thing right there, that cup, to break through walls and stuff. That teapot looking thing.
Teapot looking thing. I don't see it. The one right in front of us?
Yeah. The
What,
wrecking
throw
ball.
it?
You could throw it, or you could just run through stuff.
Oh, okay.
That too.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you gotta throw it on that one.
Oh.
So.
I got one.
I'm gonna move your side a little bit. And yeah, perfect. We have to throw this again?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, we got two of them now.
Blurty! Coming, I'm coming.
Hey!
Nice, get back.
Forgot about that. We gotta break all those Christmas trees. That's an achievement.
Fucking
Just remember that.
stupid box.
All right. So this needs to go on the conveyor belt.
That's gotta be broke, Carla. That cup. The berry's gotta be taken out of that.
How?
We'll have to break it with this ball, right, bro? There we go.
So we gotta break the trees.
Yeah, all the blue Christmas trees. And the cups with the blueberries on them have to be to get the
You wanna
blueberries
break
out
that
of them.
corner tree with me?
Right.
Ooh, we forgot a tree at the beginning too.
Oh shit.
Oh, talking about this one. Oh shit. Here on that walkway.
Riley, come get this ball with me.
Let's break this cup
Right
too, Rick.
this too.
Damn, why won't this thing break? There we go.
How do we break that first one?
Right here.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do this again.
We have to take this back
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, take it back over there. We'll get this over with. That way we could try to proton.
Yeah, pro time isn't so bad now that I know there's a conveyor belt and stuff. Just throw it.
Just reappear.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, they got one right here in this brown room, right?
Oh yeah, it's facing
facing
the
backwards.
wall.
There we go. That should be all the trees.
Oh, there's another blueberry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm stuck down here, tripping.
Wait, what do we have to do with the blueberries?
Break
I
it
have
out.
to break the cup. I want it swing.
I was trying to push it towards you guys. No?
There you go.
God damn. I wanted Carly to touch that.
It can be buggy sometimes too.
You about a
Especially
4 right
when-
now? Oh, you high as fuck right now too, Blurty? Yo, Blurty, we all zooted right now.
Oh, they
Oh, we
didn't
missed
give it
a
to us.
tree. Don't break any
Empty.
empty. Oh, don't break any
Alright,
of
so
the
we'll focus
empty
on the
ones.
trees and the empty cups.
Okay,
And then we can do pro time.
perfect.
We get that tree right there off the roof.
Yeah.
Oh, really, we missed a tree out there. Move the touch over there.
Let's run
Yeah,
into
it's like,
it. There we go.
it's showing a cup right here on my screen, like already broke. Y'all not see that?
Oh,
All
yeah,
over
right
the
here.
floor. It had to be an empty one because there's no blueberry around.
Oh, so then, hold on. Let's restart the
I
job.
just-
Let's look around us real quick.
Let's move that cup first.
Yeah. Get the cups out of the harm's way.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it. It's like,
Oh, but it's already
oh,
broken.
it's already
Maybe
broken.
that one doesn't
Okay.
count.
Okay. Oh, there's one up there already broken too with the blueberry sitting there. It must just be like example cups or something. Okay.
So we just have to watch and make sure whatever ones are still intact, we don't break them.
Oh, let me get out your way.
Break this cookie. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a few cups right there.
Don't
Yeah,
break
careful. Careful.
Help me move.
We'll move them. Yeah.
No!
I thought we were moving the cups. Help me move the cups.
Help.
Oh.
Okay.
Get them out the damn way.
No, that's fine.
I'm bringing them
there,
all the way
Rick.
back to the beginning. Oh, you think it's fine over here?
Yeah, as long as we don't come back over here.
Yeah, we got no reason to. Careful with that, Rick. They break.
お楽しみはこれからだ。ザ・ワールド。俺だけの時間だぜ。
Okay,
ぶっ
bro.
殺してやる。
So there's a few we're gonna have to watch out for.
There's a tree right here.
Okay. We get that other tree down here? There it is, right here, Rick.
Oh, there's another one right here.
In this corner.
Somebody help me.
I'll protect the cup.
Okay.
To the wall. Go straight to the wall.
Oh shit.
Shit, watch out for the cups. All right, wait. Before we move.
The
cups,
blue ones we can break,
let's
just
move
not
the-
the
let's move
ones
cups.
without
Let's
them.
move cups.
Gets this thing.
Put it in this one.
Let's break this with the blueberry right here.
Help me with the cup. Help.
Those balls over there are scaring me.
This tree. Oh. Let's get this tree right here. Okay.
Help me
And
with the
then we
cup.
gotta get these other blueberries. Oh.
Two more.
Oh!
These are
Careful.
the last two cups. We just get them out of our way, and we'll be alright.
Oh, please.
Oh. Alright.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
All the way down. Yeah.
Oh, there's one more blueberry.
Oh.
Oh, what the fuck? What's happening? Oh my God. Okay.
Candy's
okay.
drunk, yeah.
Got it.
Got him. Got all the trees this time. I don't see any.
Yeah, I don't see any more. Unless it's hidden somewhere. Sneaky.
All right, so if we did this right, we should get the all trees and the no cups, no empty cups.
If we
And then
then they robbed
pro
us.
time. Perfect.
We got
Pro time, we just fuck everything up.
Yeah. Just run through with the ball.
run through with the ball.
Yeah. So 2 people with the ball, 2 people grab the presents that are left behind.
All right. You two are in the front, so you grab the ball, and then me and him grab
All right.
the.
Ready, Carly?
Mhm.
Okay.
I feel like we need Spanish cleaning music for this.
Oh.
Some momentum.
There you go. About to jump on my... Yeah, I got it.
Right there. Alright. Oh yeah, through those.
Dry ass fart again, bro.
We gotta get all the blueberries and all the other doors.
No, we don't need. Do we need the blueberries?
Yeah.
I think they have to, yeah,
They're delivery items.
Okay, I'll go grab that one blueberry that fucking.
Somebody hit the ball with me. We have all these walls to get.
Sorry, I was going to get.
All those craps in your way.
Yeah,
They're so heavy.
Okay, there we go. One more.
Damn, Max, why are you just looking at me, bro? You that high right now?
And these doors.
Yeah.
Man was running into the
gonna-
wall.
One more door, and then we're done. Oh, there's a blueberry right there. Okay. Oh, we gotta get this out of
Oh
the
man,
way.
we're gonna have to arrange this. Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Okay.
Or use that conveyor belt. Yeah, throw everything on that.
Okay.
Let's go, Carly. I think we got it.
Move faster, conveyor belt.
There's a little thing over here, and there's something down there.
That's the ball, I think. The wrecking ball.
Yeah, it's just the ball.
Oh,
You got it. You got him.
Let's go.
we got the time?
We got him.
I think it was 240, and we got it in 230 something. We cheated. 4 seconds.
Ooh, we just got it. Let's go. Professionals. Do you guys need like a break right now or something? I don't know if like Carly needs to let Abby out or like PB breaks or whatever.
I would love to let myself
pee.
out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Just
Take
pee
breaks.
yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay on mic though while I pee. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll do that. Yeah, what's up? Turn that gain up.
Ooh,
Let me sit on your lap.
you could duel.
Switch playlist. My Saturday morning meaning. Rick, you need a break? I could break your back. Flash, that is fucking... I'll be real with you, Flash, though. Like, my back is, what do you call it? Man, what do they call it? Very tense. I have a very tense back.
Doctor
You
said
gotta
I
go
need a
outside?
bacchiotomy.
Okay, let's go. I'll be right back, guys. I'm letting my dog out. Hey, yo, who's trying to smell that?
Hi, I'm back.
Everybody back, or?
I'm back.
Okay. I know. Did Carly step away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back.
Wait, everybody's back? You guys sure you don't need more time?
I'm in good. Got a bowl of strawberries, some water.
Hey, yo, you ever had strawberries with condensed milk?
No, I don't like condensed milk.
So I'm not the biggest fan of it either. But then
Used
when
to
my
have it in
mom,
my
when my mom served condensed milk with strawberries, I was like, oh, I think Sayo muted everybody, so now you can say hi to them.
Silo!
Bye.
Sayo, we're playing with Ecstasy, Carly, and Candy, also known as La Chicona.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got the time. Okay, next is. Oh, it's on top, actually.
I think you got 2 located. The other one's back.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Go all the way around.
This place looks kind of dangerous.
The best description of you, right? Thank you for the hug, Sayo. Their parents are calling it a write-off. All right, what do we have to do here, X? I see a gingerbread man.
Smash everything. This one you have to play multiple.
We have to play multiple times.
Yeah, because of the way it's. These are Smash 5 candy.
Wait, you're cutting in and out. Smash 5.
5 candy cups
Okay.
under 2 seconds.
In under 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I guess we have to like bring them all together and then just run them over.
Yeah, pretty much. Complete.
Okay. Wait, why do you keep cutting in and out with your mic?
I don't know.
You weren't doing that before.
Let me turn it on.
Hello, friend Hansel. Will love this place.
These nuts. Got him.
But there's one for smashing everything.
One for smashing everything. Okay. So that's including trees, cups.
Yeah.
Doors.
Walls. Everything.
Mm.
So we do that first.
All right.
That way we have better.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, because then we can scope out where the cups are.
Right here. Oh. And then the top left corner, top left corner.
Oh, there's another ball here, Carly.
I guess this door, right? Is this a wall right here?
Yep. All of these are walls, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right?
Hold on.
Oh,
What the fuck is
Must
this?
not have enough room.
There you go.
I don't know. Okay, let's get some momentum. One more.
Oh, hold on.
Can you break the gingerbread man?
I think it's already down. Break this wall over here. Break
what?
this wall.
Oh, this one. Sorry, I didn't see it. Okay, let's go back and get these cups.
This is not a thing that we have to put in. Oh my god.
Oh,
shit, girls. Oh, hold on, let's move this.
Oh, where are we going? This one?
This one. Here, any...
Oh my god. It's dragging me.
Miserable.
Oh, there's a style thing here. I'll leave that in the middle. So what else do we need to break? The girls got that. Oh, you want to go the trees all the way around the...
Oh. All these cups right here.
How rude.
Oh, shit.
Stupid.
Stupid little kid.
Oh god.
I did.
One more.
We gotta throw this to that wall.
Oh, I was gonna go for the trees and let the girls handle that.
Are you talking about the corner?
Oh, it was a double wall.
That's how you do those 5 cups. So first you want to break that tree. Stack 2 more cups.
Okay, they can figure that out.
Oh, but they
Let's
already
start
broke the
loading
cups
shit.
though.
Oh, all right. Don't matter.
Yeah, they already broke the 2. Right? There's no more cups.
We still gotta break all that
There's
stuff.
cups right here on the right.
No, the cups on the right. No, that's the thing. But we were supposed to break 5 cups in less than 2 seconds.
Oh.
We still gotta break it.
Yeah,
So try to get it over here up against. So that shovel. Stop
Alright, get ready to
doing
throw
that.
it. Wow. Okay.
What you're supposed to be able to do. You're also supposed to be able to. I don't know. Without even touching. Like, let it go. Stop grabbing.
Maybe slapping it.
Maybe we gotta run into it at the same time. We gotta back it up. Cause you're supposed to be able to roll right. Stupid fast. Like that.
Oh my god, this
Yeah, we almost had it.
Oh, pull it. Pull it.
That shovel.
That was it?
You mind that this cake?
Yo,
That
man,
would break everything.
just took a style, bro.
Mr. Max Wheels gifted a tier 1 subscription to Lovely CO.
Ow.
You want to get this?
Yeah.
El chocolate. Somebody help her with that?
Sorry. I got stuck for a second.
I got a croissant. You want to help me with the croissant? Do we want to throw it? Oh, maybe grab this end and I'll get... Oh, okay. Punch it in. Fucking brute force. Yo, Carl, you want to throw it? No, just fucking punch it in, bro.
We don't need that. Carly.
Oh. I thought it was going.
Let's see.
Motherfucker.
Shovels are a pain in my ass. Oh no, the crate's not on.
Let's go.
Think of it. Think of it.
Ended up making those wings with some sweet Thai chili sauce. Might have to try them again this time wrapped in bacon. Fuck. That's big activities right there, bro. Yeah, my IG feed is wild now. I've never had food thrown at me the way I have it right now. Smash 5 candy cups and another 2 sets. So we gotta remember, no smashing the candy cups. We gotta bring them down that like lane.
Without smashing more than 4 walls.
Which I think we could probably do in this one.
Yeah, we just have to be strategic about it.
Yeah. Alright, so honestly, that's what my IG feed is now. Just hungry. Like horny hungry.
Same.
Cause the shit that they be making, bro. I got y'all, man. Next time we do big activities on in the channel. Me and Prez have been on some shit. All right, so we're gonna start this again. This time we're doing the 5 candies cups and we're doing the walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cheated on my diet today. Got me some New York style pizza. How about you get yourself some New York style dick, Duff? Oh, I plan on it. You fucking. All right. So what door? What? I guess this would be one of the walls we need to break.
Collecting cups.
Well, no. Let's figure out what walls we're breaking.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So.
Okay.
Oh my God. So everything that's in here we can throw out this window. So we don't need to break, you know, any of these walls.
We have to break one on this one. Oh no, we don't, because we could carry these out.
No, but we still need to break these big ones because we have to like
this one has an item stuck in it.
Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah.
So that one definitely needs to get broken.
That one in the center wall between the 2 rooms.
Yeah,
Right,
this
Carla,
one.
On the
let's break
left.
this one right here real quick. Yeah,
And then the other ones are optional. Just those 2 walls have items on them.
Which one?
That one that y'all just broke and this one.
All right, help our way back out again, guys.
Ow. Stupid shovel.
Wait. Is this one that's cracked too? No. Never mind. Fucking shovel, bro. Watch out. Vasitos. Alright, so we gotta throw this in. Oh, that's a fucking
does
wall?
that count? Fuck. Okay, so that's 2.
Alright, so let's back up
What
a
else?
little bit and then. Alright, so that's
3.
an item.
So we can only break one more wall.
It's gonna have to be one of these on
It
this blue
has to
room.
be one of these, yeah.
Why?
Either
To get into this room.
to get it.
No, so then we just break this one right here, this big one right here in the middle.
Yeah, that one too.
Okay.
Alright, fucking things, okay. Alright, you guys got it? Okay. Carly, help me with the cups.
I have to throw it in to get it over that lip, I think.
We're gonna
Unless you
bring them by
there
the
you go.
tree?
Yeah.
Actually, no. We have to destroy the tree first. You guys,
Okay, no more walls.
can you guys
Let's
destroy
bring
the
this over
tree?
here.
Yeah.
Which one?
This tree right
Oh.
here, this
Tree.
first one.
Oh shit. How do we?
So try to push it in first. No. So whoever I'll do it. Like whoever
Gotcha.
grabs it from
Okay.
here. All right, cause someone who's running with me.
Ow.
All right, go. Oh damn.
I hate that shovel, bro.
Carly.
All right, go.
I
Okay, good. All right, bring that thing back out now. And now we gotta bring the 2 cups in there. Fucking. Stay there. All right.
Hey.
Let's bring the cups in.
Hey.
Why didn't you, some bitch? All right, hold
I
on.
let it go. I might have to hold it.
Mother. All right, that's 1. And Carly, help me with this one. Or. There we go. And now, I guess all of us push the ball. Yeah,
Nice.
got
we
it.
definitely got
That
that
should
one.
Yeah, I
be it.
heard it.
Yeah. All right,
What's
now I just
behind
gotta
that
move
tree?
shit.
Is there an item?
Nothing.
No, there's nothing
Oh.
behind it. If you press triangle, you don't see anything. All right, so now just moving out. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, we still need to break the blueberries out of these cups, though.
Yeah. True that.
Let's bring them into near no walls, though.
Damn, you just got slapped.
Okay, so this
I got you,
one.
girl. Let's go.
One more back here.
I'm coming. God.
Why won't they just break without the
There's
thing?
one right here by this wall. There's a blueberry cup. Right by you, Candy.
Where?
The one that Ecstasy's got right now.
Oh.
I'll bring this ball back if I can. Oh damn.
Okay.
Time to break this.
Stupid shovel.
Bring it this way.
Fucking shovel.
Bring it this way. Yep. All right. Yep. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Ready, set, go.
What the fuck?
Things a pain in my ass to get down.
All right. Fucking.
Fuck you, shovel.
All right.
Okay.
That was good.
No more ball.
Let's move this out the way. There we good.
Not you dropping it when we're right here.
Carly was right there. All right, so we did that right.
Yeah.
I think we should have done that one right.
Nice.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, we want to go for pro time.
4 minutes.
I feel like it'll be very easy because we don't have to do the 5 cups anymore. So we don't have to worry about rolling that bowl on the other side.
Yeah, just smash the walls we need to smash.
Mm-hmm.
I'll smash it.
And the blueberry cups. Don't
X wall. Just throw it, just throw it.
Oh my god, Carly.
Alright.
I would just need it over there, huh?
What are you trying to do?
Open this other side up.
Just throw it.
There we go.
Really throwing it is so much easier.
Oh, we need this metal wall too, with that item in it. Right here next to me. This pink wall.
Oh, I'm coming. Just
Yeah,
throw it. Ready? Yep.
Alright. This stupid blueberry cup back here.
I got you.
Just leave it right there. Try to roll through
grab
with this
this.
ball. Ah. There we go.
The couch? No, okay. Just this little thing, not the couch.
And this cake and this cup. Okay. Stupid table.
Dry ass fucking farts, bro.
Oh, this cup. Do we have to break the cup?
No, we gotta break the blueberry cup.
Yeah, well, because the blueberry's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't let you deliver the cup. We'll just roll it. Try rolling it. Faster. Damn
Oh,
it,
we
we're
missed
messing
it.
up.
You know what? Just throw it.
Carly.
Just throw it. Just throw it. All right.
Cups used to be so much easier to break. I wonder why they're so hard to break right now.
Back up a little bit and then line up to throw. All right. Are we good?
Alright, that cake up there is painted. Get down.
There's something behind the street. Oh, it's a blueberry.
Oh, we gotta throw it?
Maybe. Do that wood.
God damn it.
Yeah, we're about to get that pro time.
Yeah,
Nice.
we got it. What the hell does it say? What?
I'm allergic to ginger. Carly's character said they got crumbs in their shoes.
Oh, fuck.
Yo, Steel,
What
how
the
was your
hell?
stream, bro? What were you doing in Street Fighter 6, man? What is that? Okay, we're going 5 stars. We're still level 4? Damn, do we have to go? I guess we might have to play another level to level up our fart. What's this over here? Oh, the Ginger
God.
District.
It's so cute.
What are the side things for this one? Steel, the hardest trophy for that's going to be the tournament ones. The tournament ones and the getting the thumbs up and giving the thumbs up. I've got horseback yoga tonight. Wait, what? You do yoga on top of a horse?
It's not that kind of horse.
Hey, yo!
That's how I get down, bro. I respect it.
That's crazy.
Smash 3 candy cups without the wrecking ball.
How the fuck?
I guess throw
And-
them.
Yeah, probably. And deliver 4 candy cups. And there's only 7 total. So, you have to
Alright.
deliver 4 and smash 3.
Oh, what the?
Oh!
Fuck,
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to with that thing.
Oh, oh
knocking.
my god. Oh.
wait, what is going on?
What am I doing?
Oh, we have to drop it off here, but we have to break this right here.
We have to break that last, though, Rick. That's a challenge.
What? Break what last?
So-
Truck?
Yeah, break delivery area last.
Okay, so let's
Challenge.
go. Right here,
Let's
throw
focus
this one,
on-
throw this.
So
in the
get
wall.
all the stuff out.
Shit, there's the cups. Fuck.
Oh my god. You gotta
Somebody
watch
hit
the
me with the ball.
centerpiece. Yeah, we just need the ball. We just need to leave all these
Alright.
cups and get it back in
Let's
there.
throw it in this one.
Yeah, just leave them in there for now.
Somebody throw it with me.
This
I
one
got
too.
you.
All right.
Yeah, y'all gotta get all them walls down for sure over there.
Let's push it.
Yeah.
Okay. And throw this one.
Oh shit.
All right, now let's try to break these cups. Somebody throw it with
Wait,
me.
we need this yellow. This
Oh
yellow
wait,
one,
wait,
too.
without the wrecking ball. So maybe we throw the. We just put the cups in the middle thing and let this thing break it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Watch
need
the ball.
three broke and 4 delivered. We need this
So
yellow
one's
wall
broken.
first. Yellow wall over here. Who's over here, Rick?
Me, yeah. I need help with this. All right.
This wall, Rick.
And that's the second cup, so no more cups
Oh
after that.
shit!
No!
Oh, how many's left?
4.
Okay.
So
This
we have
thing's
to
all-
deliver those ones.
Yeah. The thing's in your way, Rick. You're gonna have to wait a second. Here we go. Alright, now let's try to hit this first. There we go. Yeesh.
Oh, the jello is bouncy.
Okay, now we need to get the truck wall open. Where's the ball?
Is
at?
this one down here?
Yeah, that'll be a challenge done, because that's the last thing. Open. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Now,
Get this ball out so we could
get those cups in.
load the truck out.
Or do we want to do the cups last?
Oh, let's knock them out. So we don't accidentally break them.
What are we doing
Ooh.
with cups?
Oh.
For real. These things are gonna have to be tucked away in a room somewhere.
Yeah, let's put them in here. Because there's nothing in here.
I was gonna say put them in the room I'm in because I'm taking the last thing out from that room.
Oh, okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
There we go. Stay there. Oh, I thought I was about to roll. Where's these cups at?
Up.
If you just run into the thing.
No, we don't want to break them. We want to transport. Oh, we don't even have 4 now.
Also, then break them. How many do we need to break? Without using the.
How are we supposed to break?
I already did that. There's only 7, so there must be 4 broke.
Yeah.
All
We're only supposed to break 3.
We'll do the 4 next round then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're basically just moving
Let's
everything.
get this right here. Can you jump over? I guess gotta throw it over.
No,
grab
Carly,
the
that's
corner,
placed
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
All the way to the back. There we go.
Oh, that worked.
There's one over here.
Oh.
Damn it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, we're getting wrecked. Down. Oh, wrong one.
I got you. All the way back. All the way back. There
Oh,
we go.
we still. Damn, there was still a wall in here.
Oh, let's
Found
get
it.
this.
All right,
I
look, we
found
got the
it.
wall right here. Ready to throw it, Carly? The ball. Throw it in. No, we're throwing it in here.
Oh, this fucking
There's
couch?
a wall back here. No, right here, Carly. Yeah. Throw it. Yeah, there we go. Oh, damn. Gotta be a little. Oh, shit. God damn.
We gotta turn this somehow. Stand for me, though.
Alright, throw it. And there we go.
Ah.
There we go. And now we can get this.
Alright, we're about to fail this one.
We gotta throw it, Carl.
I
I
think we
can't
gotta
even get.
come back.
This is gonna be the first failure of the day.
Right here, this way.
That's because this wall down here that I'm up against. Like, there's no room for
Then
my
push
body.
this way.
There we go.
Yep, there you go. But now you gotta turn it again.
Yeah, we failed this one. We're gonna have to be way faster.
Are those like the last thing?
Oh,
I think
do we
me and
not get
Candy
the
had.
stars?
I think we had 2 couches in that room we were in.
Alright, we'll restart.
Oh, we don't even get the other stars.
No.
I am so confused on this one. What are we like? I don't know. I'm confused.
So, you know what we gotta do? Let's do the pro time first. Let's see if we can just fucking pro time it.
Okay.
Destroy
Just
whatever the
knock
fuck
everything.
we can. Yeah,
Okay.
just knock everything out and just put everything away. So, You got that
Two
one?
wrecking balls. Two people, two wrecking
All
ball.
right. Throw.
There's one more. And now we're stuck.
I feel like throwing it is easier. Yep.
Oh shit.
All right. All right.
Oh, the damn bumper.
This way. And throw this one. There we go. Perfecto. Fucking break all these things. So,
Oh, well, let's throw 4 on the shipper.
oh, okay. You try to get that. Right, so then. This one. Oh. Mel, how
There's
you doing,
another
Mel?
wall
There's
back
another wall
here.
here. Yep.
We try to roll it.
God damn it.
Turn yourself around. Turn yourself around. Yep. Okay. All right, and now help me with this couch and throw this couch out.
They played us. Oh, thank you.
Maybe we gotta throw it. No.
We'll just try to
Go.
run through it, bro.
Hold on. Pushing this. All right, grabbing this. And now this one.